Okay. I'm Madison Hale.
I'm Cindy Jansen.
Janica Smith.
Okay, that's me. Round 1. We need a world free from judgment, iniquity, and prejudice. We as humans have the potential to create a world of equality, unity, and one that is peaceful and prosperous for all mankind. We can establish an economic system where means are equally distributed and everyone has a fair opportunity for success. As we work together and cooperate, we can make this happen. In the manifesto, it states, we can control our environment, conquer poverty, markedly reduce disease, extend our lifespan, significantly modify our behavior, alter the course of human evolution and cultural development, unlock vast new powers, and provide humankind with unparalleled opportunity for achieving an abundant and a meaningful life. Humanism can be described as an ethical process through which we can all move beyond the troublesome particulars, heroic personalities, dogmatic creeds, and ritual customs of past religions that are mere negation. And their mere negation. The ultimate goal of humanism, as described in our manifesto, is the fulfillment of potential growth in each human personality, not for the favored few, but for all mankind. Only a shared world and a global measure will suffice. There are 6 areas that can help us reach our goal of satisfying life. A shared world and are crucial to the survival of our society. The areas are religion, ethics, the individual, democratic society, the world community, and finally humanity as a whole. I want to discuss 4 of these today. The first one is religion. We are not in favor of religions that put God before man. There is no scientific proof that shows that there is a deity. There is no proof that there is life after we die. So therefore, we save ourselves. We are responsible for our own futures and potentials. Traditional religions hold humans back from truly appreciating and recognizing their potential. They are stuck in the past and don't adapt to the changing world. Humanism can give individuals a personal meaning and making their life fulfilling and important. Many believe that we learn ethics from religious theology, but we believe that moral values are formed through human experiences. We create our own futures. We strive to have a good life in the here and now. And as we balance compassion, empathy, and reason, a person can be fulfilled. As an individual, we have the right to express our sexual tendencies and pursue our lifestyles free from prejudice and discrimination. We have the right to birth control, abortion, and divorce. More education is important for both children and adults to help bring awareness and acceptance. The last area I wish to discuss is our democratic society, because we need a society and government that involves us more in the decision-making process. Our voices should be heard, and we should have the bigger say in what is going on. Our manifesto declares, people are more important than decalogues, rules, and prescriptions or regulations. Our societies need to recognize us as people, as individuals, and treat us all the same. We have the right to the same opportunities to better ourselves, and if we don't have the means to do so, then our society should come together to support its members and help them have a good life and help them have more opportunities. We need a society that will reduce poverty and increase the economic well-being for all of its citizens and must eliminate all types of discrimination. In closing, I'd like to emphasize that we are responsible for our life and how the world is run. We need to put an end to the destructive theologies of government ideologies that are dividing our people. We need to stand up and work together to end discrimination and inequality. As we come together united in a cause to create a better system and make the world a more peaceful and prosperous place, we will start to see remarkable changes happen. We can make a difference. We can change the world. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So I'm conscious and aware that I am speaking to a large group of individuals, some who have the same beliefs as I do and others who do not. In a shared world, though, we need to learn to not just be tolerant of each other, but respect each other and respect our differences. In religion, we're taught to love one another, and from a religious perspective, that means that we are accepting and recognize where all of where our benefits and things come from. In the world today, religious freedom is not something that's widespread. However, we should be aware that the rights and protection of all flesh come from freedom of religion. We should strive to have a more moral society, and this means having high standards. Oftentimes, having high standards are directly in correlation with religion, and it can be difficult to determine which is which. Having freedom of religion gives us the opportunity to have these high moral standards with a reason and a purpose to motivate humans. Freedom of religion mostly allows us to make decisions. It gives us agency that each of us as individuals value. Without it, we would allow for tyranny, or for a government that can dictate what we do and what we say. This would eliminate the reason, motivation for humans to be kind to others and to be successful in their lives. Having religion as our only foundation would make it very difficult for us to support one another, though, and to have a successful world. We recognize that religion cannot be the basis of all argument. However, we would like everyone to be aware that the Constitution was built upon religious freedom. The Constitution is a document that we should strive to live by, as it is the major regulator of our country. The Constitution provides rights and protections for all people within its means, and demolishing portions of it, especially freedom of religion, opens the doors for less and less freedoms. We recognize that there is a supreme being who loves us all as children of his own. This means that we're divine in nature and have the ability to become like God. So in our accomplishments, we may feel that it is our own doing. We must recognize that even the best scientists have used hope or faith in their success. They mix two chemicals and hope that they find a cure. They take a leap of faith by sticking a kite into a lightning storm. The thoughts and feelings that they have are consistent with those of believing in a higher being. Religion teaches that man is great, but that man can do more because of Christianity, because we can live beyond the grave. And this is something that Christianity believes, and although there are many religions, all believe that they have a greater purpose, which is why we're here. And in conclusion, I'd just like to challenge everybody to look around them and see everything that they have. You may have a warm home, a warm car, technology that supports you. These are all created by man, but with a greater purpose, and we need to recognize where that purpose is.
Good job. Okay, are we on to round two? I think so. Okay, so round two, I'm going to go ahead and state the main arguments of the humanist view. Okay. The main views of the humanists is that man is at last becoming aware that he alone is responsible for the realization of the world of his dreams, that he has within himself the power for its achievement, and he must set intelligence and will to the task. It has come the time that widespread recognition of religion needs to be changed. We need to have radical changes in these beliefs in the modern world because the time is past for just revision of the traditional attitudes. We have come very far in science and economic change that it's time to get rid of these old beliefs and come into the new understanding that man is self-existing and that he was not created. There is a great danger in the final, and we believe fatal identification of the world religion and the doctrines and methods which have lost their significance. and are now powerless to solve any of the world's problems. We are convinced that the time has passed for theism, deism, modernism, and the several varieties of new thought. Today, we are encouraged to go and recognize that humans are responsible for their own lives, and they no longer can be subject to religion. Religion is a form of oppression. They allow little freedom of thought. They want people to follow them, and they have little ways of disobedience. We also reject traditional religious morality. The religious morality, it denies the humans of the full appreciation of their own potentials and their responsibilities. Traditional religions often offer solace to humans, but they inhibit humans from helping themselves or experiencing their full potential. And when speaking of that, we're talking about sexual expression for the most part. So too often, these traditional faiths, they encourage dependence, like I said earlier, rather than independence, and obedience rather than affirmation, and they encourage fear other than courage. But as humanists, we believe that this authoritarian religious stance that places God or ritual or creed above human needs and experiences, it actually does a disservice to the human species. We as humans have a large reason and intelligence. We are the most effective instruments that humankind can possess. And there is no substitute, neither faith nor passion, that suffices in itself. Faith alone cannot solve the problems of the world today, and faith will not change what humans and individuals have to offer the world. It is up to us as humanists to see our full potential. If you have seen through history, we have conquered the universe, and we have made it to the moon, and we have studied planets. We are far along in our scientific recognition, and we need to see that it's because of science that we have been able to make all these, science and our human minds, that we've been able to make all these discoveries in the world today. We also recognize that it is individuals' right to die with dignity. This includes euthanasia and the right to suicide. We believe that an invasion of these privacies is not good for our society, and we need to have this privacy and protection of privacy in order to do what we choose with our lives, as long as we are not harming others around us. I conclude that these are times for men and women of goodwill. We need to further the building of a peaceful and prosperous world. We need to get rid of war, and we urge the recognition of common humanity among all people, and we further urge the use of reason and compassion over that of faith, religion, and deity. We want a world of peace and prosperity and freedom and happiness, and we want it to be widely shared with the whole earth. We as humans, we are responsible for that, and we need to work together to protect the world from its evils. And we also invite others to join us in developing these goals as humanists. Thank you.
Good job.
Isn't it horrible?
I'm like thinking of all my arguments. I'm like, okay, I gotta. I can see why it's hard to argue. Okay. For the rights and protection of all flesh, the United States Constitution includes in its First Amendment the guarantee of free exercise of religion and free speech and press. Without these great fundamentals of the Constitution, America could not have served as the host nation for the restoration of Christianity, or religion, which began decades after the Bill of Rights was ratified. In many countries, their constitution is being adapted in its own form. So why would they do this? Let me tell you a story of a young woman from Mongolia who worked for the government and decided that democracy was something that their country could benefit from. She had many people sign a declaration that this was the way to go and took it to the ruler. Um, Unfortunately, this was not accepted by the ruler, and he fired her and every person who signed the treaty. These were dangerous actions for her to take, and were considered as an anti-government movement. So she and several women, about 20 of them total, took a hunger strike, which continued for 5 days, to express their grievances towards those that didn't believe that democracy was the way to go. Those dangerous actions expanded into a national anti-government movement, even bigger than before, and eventually the government accepted the demands that the adoption of a democratic constitution. Now, by eliminating freedom of religion, or not respecting this right, we're moving in the direction of not having a constitution that upholds agency and respects differences. There is great fear in those that are of religious belief, as they are God-fearing people. This fear is a great motivator, though, and is not considered as fear, but as more of a deep love for something greater. Humans are responsible for their own lives, but their motivation to be responsible comes from a greater strength. We want a nation with high standards, and I think it's important to recognize that religion provides those standards for people to strive for. The problem with the society today is that we are so individualistic that many times people are not taking responsibility for their own actions. With freedom of religion, we're offering people the opportunity to seek for a greater purpose and to take more responsibility for their actions. Think back to the creation of the world. For many people, they believe that there was a great occurrence that made man out of a single living organism, something small, and that turned into something great. The religious perspective is that man was created in the image of God. I think it's important to recognize that there is both a spiritual side and a scientific side to most occurrences in life. By allowing for freedom of religion, we give people the agency to choose which they would like to believe, and we respect the differences of others and the opinions of others. Again, I would like to emphasize that the freedoms that we enjoy are because of the freedom of religion. In politics, having religion as our foundation has allowed us to live by the Constitution. This is something that our founding fathers strongly believed in. It's our constitutional right to practice freedom of religion. It's been the very foundation of our country since the beginning, and the reason why many people even came to America in the first place. It's a simple cornerstone that cannot be removed. Without it, we forfeit our agency and are welcome to all to expanded to expanded view of religions, races, and individuals. It's important to recognize that humanists have done a lot for us, especially concerning human rights, democracy, and education. We need to highlight, though, that all of these actions are possible because of agency, which overlaps with freedom of religion. The human rights that we have are consistent with many beliefs of religious individuals. Democracy is in place because of the Constitution. We should strive to be a more moral society, having high standards that are often in line with religion. Thank you.
Good job. I feel bad that you have to do this all yourself.
I know.
It's okay.
Up on you.
I would have probably stayed up till like 1 reading way more.
Okay, so for round 3, do I just ask like one question at a time? Like I've never done a debate before. How does this work?
I would prefer you ask one question at a time.
You don't want me to start firing them out at you? Okay. Should we just do like two? It's supposed to be like 10 minutes total, so should I just ask like 2 questions and then you ask 2 questions or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So religions have a lot of control over individuals with things that they can and can't do. And they scare them into thinking that they will receive damnation if they fall short. So when you talk about freedom of religion gives them agency, how does that work? Because I feel like religions take away agency.
Well, the moral standards of the world, when you're held to a high standard, then the decisions you make actually give you more freedoms. So from a religious perspective, we have principles that we live by, because in the long run, in years to come, we're actually more free when we make those better decisions. So for an example, you have the freedom in this country to smoke a cigarette. From a humanist perspective, you would say that you're going to smoke the cigarette because it's your right and you're in control of your body, and that's something that you're choosing to do. And from a religious perspective, we say not to smoke because in the long run, in years to come, it's going to negatively affect your health, and it's going to defies God because it becomes your God, because you become susceptible to the addiction, and it kind of takes over your life. So you could talk to many people who smoke who say that it's a nasty habit they wish they could quit, but they just can't anymore, because they have to have that craving, they have to fulfill that. So I guess freedom of religion gives us agency because it looks at the bigger picture and less of what's right now, what do I want for immediate gratification.
Okay. You talked a lot about like the Constitution and how freedom of religion has been around since the beginning, and I agree. It was one of the founding foundations of everything. But why can't it? Why can't it at least change? It needs to adapt to the change.
Change how?
To to just adapt to all the changes, where religions have so much control over the individuals and what they can and can't do, and it gives them, by changing the freedom of religion so that they can. Shoot, I don't know.
So there's modern religions in the world today. It's not just Christianity, not just being Jewish. There's some religions that they believe in singing country music together every weekend, and that's their way of worshiping. So freedom of religion gives people the opportunity to believe how they want, whether that's traditionally, like a traditional religion, or a modern religion. Anything. In today's world, people are defining religion as just about anything that they strongly believe in. And so by eliminating that right out of the Constitution, you're removing people's ability to make those choices. Without it, there's no drive for people to find purpose, I guess, other than reason, and reason will often fail me.
Good job.
Okay, so in my studies, I recognize that humanists have done a lot for our country. I mentioned earlier in the debate that humanists have done a lot for us, especially concerning like human rights, democracy, education. They're really empowering to people. However, what would you say is the greatest motivating factor, other than having high moral standards or high standards for life? Because that seems to become more consistent with the religious.
Like, what's our
What's your motivating factor?
to do what we do?
Yeah.
Well, we think that the world needs to be a common place, and so that's our biggest our drive is that we want everyone to be equal, and that we can all work together to form that equality, and that there won't be any judgment and discrimination. And when we have that, we'll have a peaceful world, and everyone will have the same opportunities and be able to have a good life. Because there's a lot of people that aren't having a good life, and that there's a lot of gaps between the high and the high, the high socioeconomic people, and then the poverty, and there needs to be that needs to change. And there's also in science, we really believe in science and the scientific method, because that proves everything. We don't believe what we can't see, and with scientific method, it proves a lot of things, and it can solve a lot of our problems.
Okay. Kind of in conjunction with that, when you wake up in the morning, you know the sun's gonna rise, right?
Yes.
So how do you know that will happen? You know?
Science tells us that.
But isn't there a certain degree of faith behind that? Faith in knowing that in the
We don't
morning
need faith if we know that, if science has proved it. We
but
know
science changes, right? So what happens if it changes and the sun doesn't rise?
Then we will be proved wrong.
Okay, and then my last question, again, it has to do with the Constitution. We talked about one of my main points is that the Constitution gives us agency. So how does humanism support the Constitution full-heartedly? Is humanism to a certain degree against the Constitution?
Cindy, you can help me if you want, but no, because it's giving us more freedoms, because we're in control of our lives. We're gonna help the governments to strengthen its people and to make us all better. And so I think it's giving us more opportunities and more. Our founding fathers wanted us to live a good life, to pursue happiness and live our dreams. And that's exactly what humanism is all about, is that we're creating that environment and that opportunity for everyone to have that pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, we will survive and we will actually prosper in the world, but we have to have those shared humane values. Those shared humane values, as Madison said, is the main purpose of the humanist movement, is that everybody deserves equal rights around the world. And with those equal rights, we'll find a peaceful world and stop the war and terror.
I could just think of like how some people will maybe come back to that and say like, aren't differences good? And then I could invite you to read the scriptures on the war in heaven. Sorry about it.
No, I keep thinking of the scriptures of where they talk about the foolish traditions of our fathers.
Mm-hmm.
We're done with the foolish traditions of our fathers. We're not going to listen to them anymore. We know so much more.
Oh man.
It's crazy. Okay, sorry. Okay, we're on the wrap up, right?
Did we do round 4?
Right?
Oh,
Wasn't
round
that
4.
round 4?
Just do a closing statement.
Okay. So I'll do the closing statement.
Okay.
Let's see. Right. Sorry, I gotta get to my thing here. Okay. So as we discussed, the main purpose of our manifesto is that we can come together as a world and have an end to terror and hatred in our world. We can teach others the proper way to expand our human rights, and with this, a world of shared humane values. This can cause us to end the wars and to have peace throughout the world. We have such a commitment to tolerance and understanding and peaceful negotiation, and it does not necessitate acquiescence to the status quo, nor the damming up of dynamic and revolutionary forces. We as humanists truly believe that through a humanist through this humanist manifesto that we can reach the world, that we can change history, and that we can transcend the narrow allegiances of church, state, party, class, or race in moving toward a wider vision of human potentiality. What more daring a goal for humankind than for each person to become, in ideal as well as practice, a citizen of a world community? Sorry. It is the classical vision. We can now give it new vitality. Humanism, thus interpreted, is a moral force that has time on its side. We believe that humankind has the potential, the intelligence, goodwill, and cooperative skill to implement this commitment in the decades ahead. That's it.
Good job. Religious freedom has always been at risk. Even from the beginning, when the Constitution was created, there was, great suspicion that this was a necessary part of the Constitution. However, founding fathers found that it was surely the most important of them all. The First Amendment guarantees a free exercise of religion, which was intended to grant more freedom than to other kinds of action. Religious belief puts a high emphasis on high moral values and standards. This motivates people to take responsibility for their actions and to try to be a better person. There's great value in diversity, and freedom of religion allows us to have that. Let's see. To end hatred in the world would occur more if the people recognize that they have a greater purpose. We are divine beings of our Heavenly Father who loves us and wants us to be happy and successful. By allowing for freedom of religion, we allow people to have faith in a greater tomorrow. I just had a short one.
Perfect. Okay, should we do the wrap up now?
Okay, so just question again.
Yeah. So do we each have to, so just one of us has to post it, right?
The answer to the question?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. That's what I understood.
Do you want me to... Wait, what were you saying? We have to post the answers to the questions?
I thought we did, maybe not.
I thought that was next week. Maybe I misunderstood. We could do both. There's only 2 questions.
Or we could just put it on the discussion board and just each of us answer the questions and add it with the post.
Let's see.
I don't know.
So what I'm seeing on the thing, it says, now that you've finished your debate, reflect on and discuss the following questions as a whole group for 5 to 10 minutes.
So we just have to talk about it.
We just have to talk about it. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'll ask the question. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think the author of your article was taking the moral high ground or taking a moral statement? Why or why?
I think it depends on who you ask. I think the people writing the Humanist Manifesto probably think that they're taking the moral high ground, but if you ask someone opposing, they probably think that it's just a moral statement.
Yeah. The talk that I read, did you guys read both of them or did you just read the one?
I read over the second one.
Yeah.
So, Elder Oaks, because he's taking a religious standpoint, that's really just focusing on moral high ground in general. But again, I think you're right. I think it depends. From the humanist perspective, we were just saying constantly, agency, just like one message. I think it depends on how open of a mind you have, I guess, when you're reading. I don't know. I think the religious perspective is super hard in previous weeks of this class, we've learned that you don't really bring religion in, like that can't be the foundation of your argument, but when you're talking freedom of religion, that is almost your only option,
Yeah.
everything to defend it, you have to have a religious, I don't know, foundation to build from. So when I was like preparing for it and looking at the way Elder Oaks approached things, he did a really good job, kind of addressing everything as a whole. But everything, I was taking it from a Mormon perspective. So I think, next time I think I would read it from like maybe an atheist perspective and see if everything was as clear as it was reading it from my perspective.
Yeah, it was hard to go through the article and try and find like faults with it because that's something that I believe in, and so
Right.
it was hard to play the devil's advocate a little bit. But
It was hard too to like find things from the Humanist Manifesto that I was like, yeah, I full-heartedly could see why they would like that. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna argue that, but
yeah, we struggled with that one too.
it was hard. I even called my dad. I'm like, help me. I don't know what to do. Oh, okay. Did you have anything to add to me?
I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
All our kids are leaving for school.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I think they took the moral, I think it was a moral statement. I'm not sure humanists could say they have a true moral background because it even said in the manifesto that they do believe in morals, but they don't want it to be taught by religion, that morals are within the being.
Kind of by our experience.
Exactly. So I'm not sure they have a high moral standard because in order to have a high moral standard, you have to be taught what that standard is.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's great danger in not having a set moral standard, but to just let everybody kind of determine for themselves.
Well, and then like for the right to suicide, like that's crazy because most people that commit suicide or are attempting suicide, they're like mentally ill, and so you don't have that. Like I'm sure there are some that think for their religion, whatever, but for the most part, they're mentally ill, and so I don't think that it's some like you said, like it's scary when you don't have a set moral standards because then anything can go like that.
Yeah, I don't mean to laugh about them being mentally ill, but it just makes me think like people could become so convinced in their own mind that almost everybody would be mentally ill. You know what I mean? Because everybody's setting their own standards and everybody's creating their own world in their own head. There's not like that certain standard to live by, and that's scary to think that everybody could be running around like that.
I know, it's so far out there.
So go ahead, sorry.
No, go for it. It's just far out there.
Well, it's interesting too with the suicide as well, is that if you have no religious background and you believe there is no God and you are capable of anything, suicide's not so scary because you die and you're just dead. Like there's no consequence for that at all. It's like I'm going to escape this life and there's nothing else. How sad is that, right? I don't know.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, there's not a lot of hope or peace that comes without religion.
Okay, and the second question, are religious folks the only ones with values and morals? Can morality exist without religion? Why not?
I think it's a different definition of morality than it is in a religious sense because I know a lot of people who aren't very religious and their kids are good kids. They don't hit or push or, tell lies or whatever, but you see the actions of their parents and you can see that eventually they're probably going to be doing the same things as their parents, even though in a law setting, stealing is against the law, so maybe that's their moral standard is stealing and hurting others, those kinds of things. But when it comes to morality as in right and wrong, I don't know. I don't know that they can have a broader sense of right and wrong unless it's distinguished by the law so much. I don't know. Like, where do they learn right and wrong?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think at a young age, like we kind of understand that right and wrong and what you do and don't do. But then, like in that book that we were talking about, in the Sacred Duty, the Ava, I think that was her name, or Alva or something, she got good and evil mixed up. And so like evil sounded good and good sounded evil. And I think that as you get older and you experience more things and there's, so much information that you're intaking, that it's easy to get everything kind of confused. And so I think at some point too that, morals and values start kind of desensitizing and start, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important too to recognize that there's a lot more religious people in the world than we think there are. My brain like just thinks like Christianity or Mormons automatically. You think, there's someone that lives down the street from me in my hometown. They don't go to church, but they believe in God. But that's about the extent. They believe that there's a higher being, and that's it. But every weekend, the dad, he's probably like 70 years old. He's out painting homes that are even for people that are even more elderly than he is. He's constantly telling his kids like, you need to serve, you need to do things for other people. And then he'll come home and he'll drink a few beers and do his own thing. But they have like that high standard, and so the question saying are religious folks the only ones with values? I think my only the people I know are religious in some way. I don't know if I know anybody that is strictly like there is no higher being, it's just me on earth. Like I am making it my own standards, so I'm not sure. Maybe I need to expand my friendship circle. So I can get to know someone and maybe have a better perspective of what drives them, I guess. 'Cause I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't have any friends like that either.
I think I probably work with people, but even at some point in their lives, like something tragic has happened, and they've just adopted that God bless them, and even if it's just for the hour or the day that they're alive, they're trying to heal. But I mean, how would you overcome? You get in a car accident, your kids die, you are an atheist. I mean, how do you even cope with that? I don't know.
I don't think you do.
It's very, yeah, crazy. All right. It was just a question, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Hi. Sorry, guys. I thought it was at 10 tonight. You can call me in the morning. I'll wake up.
No worries. Okay, am I good to stop the broadcast?
I think so.
I think so.